So let's talk about measuring in a way that we end up with paired values, coordinated values, cohesive values. The improvement that the axis provides is that strike and dip is measured in one setup, and trend and plunge of a lineation is measured in one setup, as opposed to traditionally, looking back, there would be 4 different readings that were taken to achieve strike and dip and trend and plunge, without confidence that those 4 readings are all coherent geometrically. So let me just give an example of this. I've propped up this chunk of myelinite, metamorphic rock, sheared rock, and this rock has a planar, reasonably planar foliation dipping toward you, and then there's a pervasive, penetrative lineation that's in that plane. And so the measurements we'd like to take are ones that should result in the reality that all of these elements are in a common surface. And so with the axis, basically, we use the lid to simulate the orientation of the foliation. Just rest it right on there, making certain that it's firmly pressed against that surface. And then we rotate the lid on that surface until we know that the edge of that lid is perfectly horizontal, the way a strike should be read. And then it's a matter of adjusting the horizontality of the body of the compass, like so. At that point, you see that little white knob or button? Press that several times, and that locks in the strike line. And automatically, as long as I don't bump up against the lid, the orientation of the dip of the surface is also preserved, which actually is exactly 30 degrees, and the strike direction is easily read as 325. And so those 2 readings are coherent and paired. Now let's now measure the paired values of the trend and plunge. And what we do is ratchet the lid back to this position so that this edge is available to rest right along the lineation that lies within the foliation. And then this is the cool thing. Then we rotate the body of the compass in such a way that we are reassured that we're measuring the plunge angle of the lineation in a vertical plane, which is now the lid of the compass, and making certain that the compass is level. So now, to lock in the trend, I hit this button several times. The plunge is already locked in as long as I don't bump the lid. And I realize that the trend plunge direction is 215. I'm reading that off the north arrow. And then, in order to read the plunge, I simply go to the north end of this axis and I read a plunge of 17 degrees. Locked in, paired. So now I have 4 readings, strike, dip, trend, and plunge, that all satisfy the fact that they all lie within this plane.